Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Future Podcast. Today is episode 24.
Whoop.
Whenever you're listening today, hope you're having a good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope this video helps to take away from reality for a little bit. Calm down, relax. Today is going to be a little bit of a nostalgia throwback episode.
Heck yeah.
If you could, that's probably what we'll title it. But today we're going to look at childhood movies that really, this will be fun for both of us because two different generations, two different time periods. I'm sure it'll be fun for him to hear me talk about it because it'll just bring back memories for him too.
Yeah.
But this is just fun to, and also if you're watching along, please let us know your favorite childhood movies or your top favorite childhood movie.
Yeah.
We got 15 total. There's probably a few we'll end up just throwing there extra just because as soon as you start talking about stuff, you start to really realize how many more that you remember. But it's hard to have a cap on childhood movies because you watch so many movies as a kid.
Yeah, because I literally just thought of another one. I'm going to be pissed I didn't put it on here.
Yeah, there's probably going to be a few I'm going to realize when I get down with my list and be like, oh, there's another 4 I could have put on there.
Yeah.
So if we get down to 15 and we still got a little bit of time to spare, we'll probably just throw in a few more for the laughs of it. But
Well, I mean, because it's hard. I mean, like, these are the ones I know I watched religiously. These are the ones that I ruined my VHS. Yes, VHS. That's
I used
how
a lot
old
of these. Ran the DVD a few times, too many.
Yeah, and it's like, there's so many good ones, but for me, these are the ones I just
key memory
every day, all day, would annoy the hell out of my sisters, my mom and my dad with it.
I know there's a few on here I know my brother with, so I'll point those out when we get there. But we both were just looking over our list. It's no particular order. It's hard to put childhood movies in order because as a child you go through so many different stages and everything like that.
Yeah.
One of the ones I didn't put on here was Power Rangers because it was the show more than the movie, even though I did love Power Rangers a lot growing up. But if we ever look at shows as kids, I'll probably toss that in there. But I mean, I'm excited to this one. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Like I said, let us know what your favorite childhood movies are. If you want us to do more of this, we don't have a problem with that.
Not at all.
But to start my list off, it's all for my sports fans. Me and my brother growing up watched this movie. We had to give 3 or 4 different DVDs, and it's Sandlot.
Yeah.
The original. The first one's the only good one.
Yes.
I will die on that hill because the other ones were too cheesy. They had a few okay moments, but nothing like the first one.
Nah.
When you talk about a child living his dream, if it was a movie, The Sandlot's a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
It's just a neighborhood of boys playing baseball when times were good. You just found a random old field that was just ran down, nobody played on anymore.
Yeah.
So you just got your own bases. They had to save up money to buy a few balls.
Yep.
Like that one scene where they had to buy the baseball, but it's a really cheap one, and when the first one who hits it, it just destroys it, and it's just like, it's nostalgia. Iconic Tequila song is in it when they're at the carnival. They all tried dipping. They all tried to chew for the first time. They end up throwing up because it's like, yeah, it's disgusting. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
And then obviously you have the 4th of July scene, which is just awesome.
Oh,
Playing baseball,
it really
hits it perfectly when the fireworks go off. So I mean,
just watching it,
and the ball just flies past them. It's like, yeah. But that movie's just, especially for me and my brother, we play baseball. A lot of our family plays baseball. It's just a dream movie. It's like, imagine if you could just, because when we were brother growing up, there was a few of us that played baseball, but we didn't have any like those fields near us. So obviously, we had to wait till baseball practice to go play baseball. But it's still a great movie. I'm sure he remembers quite well how many times we watched that one.
Well, I mean, it came out the tail end of me being an adolescent, and I remember it coming out and watching it and like, oh wow, this is one of those.
It's gonna be.
It's a classic right off the bat, and any young child really, even little girls, but for little boys, summertime, there's nothing better than just waking up, going out and playing with your buds.
Whatever sport it is, truly.
Running amok all over town all summer long. The pool scene is hilarious.
Oh yeah, when he fakes drowning just to kiss a lifeguard.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, what it goes.
Squints is awesome. His older brother, my oldest boy, they got to do Sandlot theme thing for high school baseball, and he got to be Squints, and that was fun.
It fit in perfectly. He's a goober, but
even
even our 2 little cousins, my younger cousins, we used to play baseball a lot on the weekends growing up and everything like that. We taught them how to play And of course, they finally watched the movie because we were watching at grandma's once.
Oh yeah.
And so they had to figure out what it was about. And now one of them has a poster of it in his room. And I know first thing, if I ever have a son and he wants to watch a sports movie, the first one I'm showing him is Sandlot,
Oh, absolutely.
without a shadow of a doubt,
Yeah.
because it's just a great bond. It's a movie that shows you build a bond with those few friends you have as a kid, and if it's the right type of bond, it truly will stick out for a long time.
I mean, Sandlot first, and then Mickey Rourke and the Wrestler second, right?
I'd probably say Mighty Ducks second.
Yeah. We'll get to that. Don't worry.
And there's a lot of good old sport movies. Just you really just hit the key.
Well, they just the mood that they set. It's lighthearted. It's fun. It's inspirational most every time,
Hmm.
and it gives them something positive to strive for as a child. Because I've had a few of those kind of movies, and we'll get to them where it's an inspiration.
It is,
It
and this
really
one
is.
it really showed because at the beginning of the movie, obviously he moves to a new city, and he's like, I'm not gonna make any friends, and he didn't know how to play baseball because he came from the city.
Yeah.
He's going to a little town in the middle of nowhere, so it really shows that it's like there's a certain way to make friends. You just gotta figure that out.
Yeah. And of course, the classic scene where he doesn't know who Babe Ruth is, and the Great Bambino.
And he has the gum in his mouth. He's acting like a cigar. Who?
Ooh.
And it's just if you haven't seen a Soundlot, and only the people who have an excuse if they're below like 6 or 7. Anybody else, I don't know what planet you've been on.
Yeah, I mean,
But Sandlot is a cult classic. I will never stop liking that movie, no matter how old I get.
I can still watch it. It doesn't bother me at all.
It's cheesy. It's funny.
It's just well
a great
made.
family movie.
Very well made. Very good child actors in this one too. They did a great job. It didn't look like forced acting. It looked like it was real genuine, that they were really having fun doing it.
And then, of course, you have the great scene in the treehouse when they're making s'mores.
Yeah.
You want s'more? S'more of what?
I haven't had
Do you
any.
want a s'more? I haven't had any. How can I have some more? And then he explains what a s'more is. And of course, like nobody in the city eats s'mores because there's nowhere to go to cook them.
Yeah, you don't be able to make fires outside.
And then they're all telling these fake tales of the dog because obviously none of them squints with the most unrealistic story how the dog was captured like 50 years ago.
Yeah, by his grandfather.
It's like you wouldn't be alive anymore. Yeah. It's a great movie for kids. It's just like there's nothing bad in it. It's all around great.
No, it's fun. It's fun to watch, and
the soundtrack is amazing.
The soundtrack is amazing. It's great music. Set in a certain time period when America really was just a wonderful place to be, and they did a good job capturing that.
They did,
and made us all wish we kind of lived in that kind of a simpler time.
Yeah, small town, simple times.
Yeah,
but Sandlot, I had to put that on there.
It's a good one, man. That's a good way to start it. Yeah. I'm gonna start mine off in a little bit of a different direction. There's one movie, and I know me and my sisters used to wear this one out, reference it constantly, but Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Rest in peace to him. Pee-wee Herman's no longer with us, but he was such an over-the-top character.
Mm-hmm.
Borderline annoying, but still, hey, come on, guys. It's just Pee-wee, it was such a strange character. But it was very / cartoon in the way that he would do his comedy. And so, why wouldn't a kid enjoy watching it, But Paul Rubin was a genius when he, portrayed Pee-wee Herman. And I just remember watching that movie so many times that I can't even hear anybody talk about the Alamo anymore. And I don't think of that movie because they trick him into thinking that there's a basement in the Alamo. And he goes to the Alamo in search of this basement, and then when he gets there, of course, there's not, because there's no basements in Texas. We don't have.
We don't need them.
Here.
It's hard to get through that limestone.
But it was But Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and you had Pee-wee's Big Top there shortly after, which was okay. But Pee-wee's Big Adventure, it's iconic. So many jokes come from that. Him driving across country to try to find a stolen bicycle. But it was the coolest bicycle you ever seen. This was back in the 80s where it had little gadgets everywhere, little buttons, and it would do cool stuff. And it was such an epic story that they wind up making a movie about it in the movie.
One of those where
You know, it's over the top, it's outrageous, but for a kid, it's just insanely entertaining. My generation, Pee Wee's Playhouse was a huge TV show. When he got his movies going, it was just nonstop fun. And, you know, me and my sisters used to just watch that almost daily if we could.
If you could, yeah. I mean, especially in that time period. I mean, how much you said,
Yeah.
how much they released.
Oh,
They
yeah.
were just back to back to back.
They just, you know, everything was a good idea in the 80s, so, you know.
They did a lot of things, yeah. 80s and 90s, they released just about everything.
Yeah. Because somebody was going to watch it, somebody was going to buy it, and it was cheap to put everything on VHS because it's just plastic. So it's easy to make, it's easy to produce, easy to put out, you know. And but yeah, Pee Wee's Big Adventure, you know, that every time I see it, I immediately just flash back, just the good old days of me and my sisters.
Waking up,
Yeah.
getting a drink, watching on TV,
Mm-hmm.
cup of milk.
Yeah.
No, there was mornings like that. I mean, when I think of a movie I love to watch on the weekends, my second movie is definitely one of those, and it was the first Spider-Man with Tobey, 2002.
Had to buy that a few times.
Yeah, there was. We basically had two different DVDs. Because eventually he got the collector's one with all three,
Yeah.
which all the DVDs had like the different suits in which he wore. Those were the special ones we can only use every now and then. But we had the extra one, which is the one I always use because I wore it down pretty well.
Pretty quick.
But that first Spider-Man, I mean, that's what I've mentioned before. That's what got me into the character,
Mm-hmm.
and why I love it so much to this day is because I've seen so many movies and shows. That first Tobey, I mean, it's iconic how everybody loves it. The suit looks good for the time.
Yeah.
It looks phenomenal how they did that well. And then obviously when he gets his powers, that's my most memorable scenes from the movie. Is just seeing him adapt to it. Obviously climbing the wall was pretty cool. Seeing that as a kid, especially being so young, seeing Spider-Man climb the wall, you're like, whoa.
They finally did a good Spider-Man, you know, and that's where we were finally getting some good superhero movies.
Little by little.
Little by little. Yeah, you know, I never understood the flack any of that got. You know, movies are going to get better as years go on.
Mm-hmm.
For its time,
That's why they do
it was
remakes.
pretty damn good.
For early 2000s, it was great.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people say the second one is the best out of those three, which for the most part it is. The first two I feel are really great. Third one's not good, but it's still fun to watch every now and then.
Yeah.
For the laughs.
Third one felt forced.
It definitely was forced.
Yeah.
They wanted to do Vulture, or Mysterio. One of those two would have been cool to see. But I love the scene where he's learning how to shoot the web. Go web, go.
Go web, go.
And it's just go, and it's just like he's doing all these different Shazam.
Shazam.
It's just like, oh, almost got in trouble there. Gotta be careful. But that was before everybody was cutthroat, copyright, and everything like that. Back when the movies were still okay to poke at each other.
Yeah, you can say a word without having to go to court.
Yeah.
You know. Nah, man, those first Spider-Man, those were really good, and the amount of spider gear we had to have in the house.
I wanted to be Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I can't say anything. When I was a little dude, it was Superman. So
Yeah.
but yeah,
I
this
wanted
kind of Spider-Man.
live and breathe Spider-Man, that's for sure. And then eventually I got to my Incredible Hulk phase, which I've talked about before. And we'll get back to that in a little bit. But Tobey Spider-Man, especially because he fit the role. Now when you watch it back, you're like, okay, he looks a little bit older. The first one, he fit the role really well.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't huge. It was just like he still was a smaller actor a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And he was building a name for himself. He got in shape for it. I still love the scene where he puts on his glasses for the first time after he got bit. He's all like trying to adjust to it. And it's all around funny. And then he's shooting the webs all in his room. Aunt May tries to come in.
Yeah.
And he shuts the door. It's just awesome. I mean, the revenge story. Uncle Ben, obviously, we get the first iconic. With great power comes great responsibility.
Yep.
And then they tied the third one. I like how they tied Sandman into it. And they made sense of it at least.
Yeah.
But the second one was also really great. Dr. Ock was just iconic. The fact that they brought him back says enough.
He did an unbelievable job with that, not making it seem cartoonish or over the top, because it's a hard character to pull off, and a lot of these guys are because they come from a comic book.
Yeah,
so
like Electro and everything like that. It's hard.
You know, but I thought they were really good. Third one, yeah, I mean, think we could have done without it. In
Oh, we
all
could have done
honesty,
without.
we did get a couple good things out of it, such as the iconic dance meme
Oh,
that Toby
Bully
does.
McGuire.
Yeah, it's like, good lord. Whoever decided that it would be good to see Toby Maguire doing a disco dance on the sidewalk.
Dressing all black.
Yeah.
The symbiote suit looked cool. I
Yes,
will say
I
that.
was going to, in all seriousness, that was the best thing we got.
Out of all,
Was really cool looking,
the
symbiote
was cool
suit.
to see it crawl on the bed, and just to see it wrap around him, and then you see him just like wake up in front of the. He's on the skyscraper and he's all checking it out.
He's all, whoa, neat.
I like this.
And see, there again, yes, I think Topher Grace was a miscast as Eddie Brock. Only in the sense of I couldn't believe him as Venom.
Yeah.
But they did a good job how they made him look. Because, like, even when the bells were ringing and he was, the symbiote was freaking out, they did a good job of the way they made that look. Just the writing, some of the casting, the story.
At one point, they almost gave him normal human teeth for Venom. There was like a few.
That would have made no
sense.
That
would have made it even worse.
Yeah.
It's just like, that's good. And the worst thing or the best thing we almost got is they almost did, for the symbiote suit, they almost did the Agent Shields or Agent Venom, but it was too expensive to make that many suits. They had to scrap it, and they had to stick with just a black one.
That's when Sony decides to cheap out?
Yeah.
Come on.
It's like, come on now. If it's the last one, go big or go home. I guess.
Right? You would think.
But a lot of people my age will say their childhood was Spider-Man most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just great memories.
It took over, dude. It was huge when it came out. It really was. It was a big deal.
It's just phenomenal. I will never regret that. It's a good time to be alive.
I'll never regret my second one. That's Howard the Duck.
It's a great movie.
Okay. There again, me and my middle sister probably watched this movie way too many times because it really is not that great of a movie, but I love some terrible 80s movies.
And it's corny.
It's part of just my generation, I can't help it. But Howard the Duck, probably what most consider the worst Marvel movie of all time. I argue that with the Eternals, so suck a fart. That's how I feel about that one. Go. I feel like Howard the Duck is better than the Eternals.
Oh, yeah.
Because I can watch an animatronic duck play an electric guitar at a live concert, and people are buying that as it's, this is normal.
Why not?
Why not?
It's 80s.
I'll watch that any day over Angelina Jolie throwing some fake-looking Doctor Strange spears. Anyway, Howard the Duck. Okay, 80s prime, like, just there's no point to it. Interstellar aliens. Yeah, it wasn't comic book accurate. Okay, that's the only bad thing I'll say about it. It's completely not comic book accurate.
They just wanted to make a movie.
But what it is insanely hilarious to me. I think it is a great, fun watch. It makes zero sense, but it's fun to watch. Although it is a little awkward at one point when, the lead female is about to have sex with a duck. But
yeah, that's the one part.
Beyond that,
beyond the cocaine they did to do that scene. Yeah. Beyond that, it's a good movie.
It's a good movie. But no, it's one of those terrible 80s flicks I grew up on. I loved watching it because I just remember as a kid I'd love to have like a walking, talking duck as
It'd be
friend.
funny.
It would be cool.
Like, who wouldn't want that?
Oh my gosh. But yeah, man, I won't go too far into it because, I mean,
it's a strange one.
It is so strange. It would make no sense if I started going into the plot because the plot makes no sense. He gets sucked out of his world, brought to Earth by scientists who built a machine for some other reason, but that's what it wound up doing. But in the same process, it sucked in some alien overlord from another planet who encapsulated itself into a human scientist's body.
Trying to kill Howard the Duck.
Yeah, and then he tries to kill him before they can destroy the machine to bring in more overlords.
He's falling in love with the girl.
Falls in love with the girl that found him in a random alley. Yeah, it's such a strange movie, but it's funny.
They were off of something they weren't supposed to be doing, and they wrote a script. They got approved somehow.
Yeah.
and they made the movie. It's so bizarre.
It is, but I love it, and I have it on DVD. I'll watch it if it comes on. I can't help myself.
It's funny. It's
guilty pleasure.
If you want to watch a strange '80s movie, that's one.
I got a few.
But my next one's a little bit more normal. It's not from the '80s. It's from this one. I think they did in the early 2000s. It's G.I. Joe with Channing Tatum. The first one.
Yeah.
Second one's terrible. 2000. The first one, Snake Eyes is the big reason I love that movie. I wanted to be Snake Eyes. When I was a kid, every single movie I watched, there was one character from every single movie I wanted to be, and that one it was Snake Eyes because pardon my French, he's fucking badass. I mean,
well, yeah, he is.
It's just, I love that one scene. He's fighting Shadow, and he's throwing the ninja stars, and he just shoots him with the Uzi, and then they start fighting with their swords. It's like little scenes like that. It was just awesome. He never spoke like he's supposed to. Hey, Paramount Plus, if you were watching this, that movie was terrible, by the way.
Yeah. Don't appreciate that.
That Snake Eyes movie was really terrible. One of my favorite characters growing up, and you just just ruined it straight up. But the G.I. Joe movies, they did good about his character. I love how we didn't see his face ever. He just stuck to whooping ass, pretty much.
That's what he does. That's what Snake Eyes has always done. Ever since he was created back in the 80s by Hasbro, he's an ass-kicking machine. Most G.I. Joes are.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they're trying to do.
That's what they're trying to do. And, yeah, I was excited to see it because we'll get to G.I. Joe in a little bit later on my list. But it was exciting because it's like, how are they going to do this right, live action?
It's hard after that many shows.
It is, and kind of like in Ninja Turtles when they tried to take that from animated to live action. Like, it's tricky. Okay, it's tricky. But, yeah, they pulled it off pretty good.
The first one was really good.
One of the few Channing Tatum films.
Yeah, one of the few that we'll watch, yeah.
Other than This Is the End.
And 21 and 22 Jump Street. His comedy movies are funny.
Yeah.
But G.I. Joe, I remember that as a kid, I had the Snake Eyes helmet. Obviously, I had the swords. Mm-hmm. I'm sure my brother didn't like it because I probably beat him a few times with it. Probably chased him around.
You did.
So he probably didn't like that I liked out of all the characters. He's like, why can't you just like the normal people?
Why can't you like Duke?
It's like I like all the characters that have swords. For some reason, swords have always been...
Blades are fun, man.
And they're cool looking, but that first G.I. Joe is just awesome.
Yeah.
I need to rewatch it. I think it's on Paramount. If not, I'm sure Amazon Prime's probably got it, but
I got it on DVD.
There you go. Hey, that's why we tell you we collect DVDs. You never know when you want to watch an old movie that is on no platform.
Well, and like us here shortly getting inclement weather, you never know when cable and stuff goes out. If you've got 5,000 plus hours of entertainment on DVD,
you're good.
You'll be all right.
Like what people remember in high school when COVID hit, and they're like, okay, you're going to be off for 2 weeks. And there was like barely internet because that's when the freeze happened. Everybody's like, what were you doing? Watch my movies.
I just watched a bunch of movies.
Because I went in the living room and had a lot to go from. I was just like, okay, I know which section I can't grab from.
Yeah.
But all these are free game.
Yes. I'm just going to pick
all
one a day.
All the superhero, action, comedy movies, or comedy movies, they're all free games. So I just watch the movies.
Yeah.
Eating popcorn, eating lunch. I didn't have anything to complain about. So people make fun of it, but we win in the long run.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, I got you beat.
Entertaining as hell. You got good stories, man.
It's a one-time payment than rather monthly payment. So
I stand on that hill alone. It's better than reading. More entertaining, in my opinion.
Yeah, the words are...
Yeah, Joe. Yeah, the second one, what was it? What did they call that one? Retaliation or something?
I think so. When The Rock came in, Bruce Willis was on that one.
Yeah.
That one was just a big money waste fest.
Well, like usual, The Rock comes in and overtakes it and kind of ruins everything.
Yeah, with Scorpion King.
I find it very convenient that as soon as The Rock is intervened into the franchise, Channing Tatum's character is killed off.
Yeah, that or Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
Because you look at Scorpion King, Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Yeah.
And then he did G.I. Joe, and then probably one more in there that he snuck in, but...
I don't remember Roadblock being more important than Duke in the whole G.I. Joe franchise, so why they decided to kill off literally one of the main people
I know.
G.I. Joe is based around in Colonel Duke. Yeah.
And
Well, let's kill him off. That makes sense.
And then that's why they tanked.
Sorry, I take that personal. Like, I grew up on G.I. Joe. I am old school OG G.I. Joe.
You can't ruin the main.
And you start killing off. Yeah, I mean, that'd have been like killing off Wolverine in the first X-Men movie.
That or Cyclops, yeah. It's like the first one they get in one's big scene and they die. He literally died in the first scene of the second one.
Yeah.
It's literally.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you kill the whole franchise. For what? So that The Rock can be more
popular.
You know, in just spotlight. Just that's aggravating to me as a fan.
Have them side by side.
Yeah. Well, because sometimes charisma is matched by more charisma. And egos don't like that.
Some people just need to understand. It's not always about you.
Nope. No, it's not.
But the first one, do some homework. Watch that one. That one's fun. It's just a fun action movie.
Yeah.
When it came to like the early 2000s, you just gotta realize it's just fun action. Same thing in the 90s and 80s. People were just having fun with movies.
Making fun entertainment, you know, for people to watch.
We're slowly getting back there. Yeah. We had a struggle the last probably 5 years. Besides our superhero movies, other than that, it's been a struggle for a lot of other movies. I think we're slowly getting back with our horror movies. We're getting back into those.
Mm-hmm.
Comedy movies are kind of slowly getting back. Comedy movies are harder nowadays because everybody's insensitive.
It's
action
tricky.
movies, they're using too much CGI rather than practical effects.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have Christopher Nolan to help us with that.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We appreciate it. We're slowly getting back there, but we appreciate all the 2000s action movies.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah, because it was starting to get revolutionary during that time period. We'll get to some of those. I know you got a couple more.
Oh, yeah.
My number 3, gotta love him because he's one of those actors. It's easy. It'll take you less time to name the bad movies he's done because he's done so many great ones. Tom Hanks in Big.
Oh, it's a great movie.
Man, there again.
Tearjerker, too.
Me and my sisters probably wore out that VHS tape so many times. But it's so fun to watch. Him playing chopsticks on the piano, on the giant piano, dancing across it, eating the baby corn like it's real corn on the cob. But it's just a cool story, you know. The runt of the litter child sees a game, makes a wish on it, thinks whatever, this isn't going to come true, but he wishes to be big.
Wakes up 3 times the size, 20, probably like 25-ish.
Yeah, you know, wakes up and he's Tom Hanks. And he doesn't realize he's a grown man. He's freaking out, has to run away from home, depends on his best friend in middle school to get him money and get him help. He has to get a real job. Winds up working at a freaking toy maker. You know,
he just tests the toys.
He's just a toy tester. But it's a great story. Tom Hanks, man, he knows how to do some good ones.
It's just the fact that he could like bring out that inner child. It's like that one, and then Turner and Hooch too. That one's really fun. You could just tell there's certain ones where actors just get to have so much fun.
Yeah.
Just like you don't have to be serious for a couple months.
Yeah.
And just be a big old kid, and that one especially, he's playing a big kid, so that's your ultimate opportunity.
Yeah, and he does such a good job. Like you said, you don't see an adult when he's talking. You see a child in his eyes, like when he leaves the big dinner party at work, and him and the girl leave, and they get in her limo, and you know, and she's like, "Well, do you want to go back to your place?" And he's like, "Yeah, we can go back to my place." And he's, you know, he's like a kid. He doesn't think anything of it. You want to hang out? Cool.
Yeah, I got toys.
They get there. They go upstairs to go into his apartment, and she's like, "Well, you know, can I stay the night?" And he was like, "Well, I mean, if you want to." Like, he still didn't understand what she meant. She goes, "Well, yeah, I'll stay the night." And he goes, "Okay, but I get to be on top." He's referencing that he's got bunk beds.
She's like, huh?
She's thinking, oh, God, he's already telling me what position we're going to be in. This is strange and weird. Yeah. But then as the evening goes on, she kind of sees, like, it's like a grown child. This is so weird.
And he gives her, what is it, the...
little decoder ring.
Yeah, before they go to bed.
So she can see in the dark if she has to get up and go to the bathroom. Like, it's just, Tom Hanks was so awesome, literally playing a child in a man's body. And it just, he pulled it off. Like, you really thought that's what was going on. And then in the scenes where you would see it take over him too much in his mind, like when he would kind of start breaking.
Like when he first had to go to that little motel.
Yeah.
On, like, the worst, like, like a back street and everything, like terrible, like people getting shot in the background.
Yeah.
And you see him just like curled up, and he like puts a dresser in front of the door, and he's just crying. And it's just like I mean, if for somebody who's never experienced adulthood, it's like you don't know what to do.
Well, yeah, you're 11, 12 years old, and all of a sudden you're out there in that crap. But yeah,
yeah,
big man. I'm pretty sure most everybody knows of it. If you haven't seen it,
it's
Tom
like,
Hanks at his finest when he was like in his prime.
he had a lot of good movies in.
Yeah, big. I wore that one out too. I wore a lot of these out, but
That one was a big part of me and my bigger brother's childhood too.
I couldn't help it. I loved it so much. They got sucked into it too.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. It's just the never possible what if situation if you just magically became an adult overnight.
Yeah.
It's like, what would you do? And it's just like, well, play with toys, I guess.
Play with toys.
Get lucky, play with toys, and that's how I get paid. And it's a great movie.
Yeah.
I love it when he's at the dinner party when he's eating. They bring him like the little like cracker with the stuff on top. He eats. He's like,
Yeah.
He's grabbing the towel or the little napkin and wipes it off his tongue. He's like, oh, that's terrible. She's like, oh, okay.
Can we get out of here?
Yeah, it's a great movie if you haven't watched that one. That's just a great laugh.
You got some homework to do. Start writing this down.
Yes. My next one, we have talked about this plenty. You probably already done the homework. This the prequels to Star Wars. Out of the three specifically, I would say number 3. Obviously, I've said that is my favorite out of all the Star Wars movies.
Mm-hmm.
Key part of my childhood was those movies.
Yep.
There's not. I can't think of my childhood or adulthood where I just haven't watched Star Wars. It's been around. It's one of those franchises that just sticks to you. It's phenomenal writing. The third one, especially the fallen angel story, where he is the highest respected all the way down to the worst person in the movie. To see Obi-Wan Kenobi pretty much he thinks he does. He has to kill his own brother.
Yeah.
And you hear him literally say, "I loved you like a brother," and he's sitting there burning alive.
Still screaming at him.
And it's just, it's for a kid. The ending's pretty bad. It's pretty sad.
It's pretty brutal, yeah.
But the other parts of the movie, it's just all around. It was a good movie. The second one, I liked that one a lot too. Growing up, just because of Order 66, to see all those different like views, to see Yoda with all the Wookiees.
Yeah.
And then just to see the androids, and then it was
cool to see the Wookiee army.
You just see a beach full of them, and then Yoda. I loved every scene with Yoda. Yoda definitely, but again, like I said, every movie had to be a character, and it was definitely Anakin.
Yeah.
Anakin is he's badass. I don't have to tell you.
Hayden Christensen, he used to get some flack. I thought he did a great job.
Now the fans love him, but it's like, where was his love when he did the movies?
I thought he was always good. I loved him in The Takers. Like, I really think he's a good actor. I really think he got some bad
He stopped for a while because of what people were saying. Like,
I don't blame him. It's like, you know what? If you can't respect me, at least as a human being, and just be thankful that I tried. Like, geez,
I mean, he definitely made his money, so he's luckily enough he got to step away for a while.
No, yeah.
And then coming back to do it again and all the little series and everything.
It was cool to see that.
It was awesome seeing him come back, especially in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. Mm-hmm. That scene where the helmet's halfway off. It's just amazing. It's cool to relive your childhood in certain aspects, especially with the fantasy movies. It's so much easier because they can make almost anything happen.
Yeah.
It's like you can do a prequel and you can cover up his face like they did with the Darth Vader. It's just like they can do it. It's possible.
Yeah.
But without a shadow of a doubt, Star Wars, I would say 2 and 3 pretty much equal, but those two in my childhood, those were key factors.
Oh, I know. He even had Xbox games.
Oh, yeah. PlayStation games eventually when I was a teenager.
Eventually. Like, I mean, which, hey, could be worse.
Yeah.
You know. But I thought they did because I grew up on the original 3, episodes 4, 5, and 6. I was excited but confused because I was like, okay, we're going to get the prequels. But everything looked like it was more advanced. And that was the only thing that threw me off. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have a hard time remembering that this happened. This was back then.
I just feel like he had a vision, but he he didn't. I feel like he wanted us to wait to let us soak in.
Yeah.
Because now when you watch them 1 through 6, it's like he made the original 3, and it was like there's a lot of details I can add, but I want to wait. It's interesting how you can think to do that.
George Lucas is a genius like that.
He's got a good brain.
Yeah.
Just wish he didn't sell it to Disney.
Ah, well, you know.
You got to retire the family, I guess. He only got $1 billion or whatever out of it.
That's all. Oh, poor guy.
Either that or a few $100 million. Oh, poor guy.
Poor guy.
I know, right? Gets to pay off everybody's debt for the next 50
Oh, darn. Wish I had those problems.
I know. But I figured a lot of the fans figured I would bring up Star Wars. Same thing, the reason I brought up Spider-Man. There's a few of these that are pretty obvious.
Yeah.
But it's just hard to not talk about because I just love those movies.
Well, that's the point of this. These are the ones that, you know, they just kind of
Except the
never
sequels.
left.
Sequels are terrible.
Well, my number 4 has no sequel because it would be kind of weird. Stand By Me.
It's a great movie.
I mean, you know,
Iconic.
Stephen King, it was a great novel. The child actors they got were perfect.
Mm-hmm.
The supporting cast for the child actors were great with Kiefer Sutherland but just wow, what a story. And
again, one of those stories like it's just boys being boys.
Boys being boys. It's summertime. Let's go camping. And we're gonna go they're gonna go look for a dead body. But we're going to tell our parents we're just going to go camping for the weekend, you know, and we'll be back and da-da-da-da. They're, again, setting a time in America where we all wish we could get back to that, you know, and so many less worries.
You could leave the front door unlocked and just be like, be back before dinner.
Yeah. And we're going to go camping for the weekend. Okay.
Make sure you got water.
And it's just fun to watch 4 boys go through so much just to see what they're not even sure if it's there,
it's just
but they're going to take a chance.
They heard something that might be there.
Yeah.
And they're like, but what if we do see it?
You know, then we'll be heroes because we'll bring it back, you know, and da-da-da-da-da.
That shows you the thought process of a kid. It's just like, I'd be a little suspicious if you ride that body.
But the cast, you had a young River Phoenix, and I really wish we hadn't lost him like we did because he was such a brilliant actor for his age. Will Heaton, I mean, such a perfect nerd playing a perfect nerd. And, you know, and the way he told his stories were great. Jerry O'Connell playing the fat kid.
Oh, he's funny.
He was awesome.
A little scaredy cat the whole time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was fun to watch. The whole train scene where he's just crawling on his hands and knees because he's terrified.
You had the scene where they tell him he has to do watch. He's like, what?
What?
Sure.
And they leave him up and he hears wolves howling. He's freaking out the whole time holding the gun. And then, of course, who can forget Corey Feldman?
Every movie he did, pretty much.
I mean,
that time frame.
It's Corey Feldman, dude. He was huge back then. He was in a lot of movies I enjoyed watching. Not to say that he was that great of an actor, but for a child actor, he was good. I feel sorry for everything the poor dude's gone through, but
went through a lot, unfortunately.
But I will say that's probably one of my favorite movies where one of his characters is involved because he does play a lot into it. The emotion in that movie being so well portrayed by such young men was very impressive to me.
And they're all different characters.
Very different. And it's just such a well-told story, and it's such a unique story. You wouldn't think that would be something that would be, you know, oh man, I want to watch that again because, like, I don't want to watch a movie about a kid or 4 kids trying to go find a dead body. But that doesn't sound like something you'd want to watch, but
the detail in every scene.
Yeah.
The iconic scene where he's in the water and the leeches get him.
Yeah. You know, they get attacked by leeches because they go swimming in the they're trying to cut across a pond. Yeah. And then they try swimming in it because they're goofing off. But what's funny is because it's such a light-hearted film in some parts and because it is such a adolescent journey type film that you forget what the purpose of their journey is, just like they do. Mm-hmm. Because after they've gone through so much, they've almost forgotten what they're even doing.
And then they finally realize again.
And they're like, oh, yeah, okay. And then you're at the same time going, oh, shit, yeah, you're supposed to be finding that body.
And you're just over here living life. Like, I love River Phoenix. He's like the tough kid in the movie. Yeah. And you see him finally open up. And then you see, like, all that, like, at home, all the pressure and everything. to see him that young, show
Yeah.
that kind of emotion on the screen, it's like, damn, dude.
He was one of a kind. I really
He
wish.
could act.
I don't want to. I was going to say something terrible. I was going to quote Dewey Cox. Wrong son died. But I won't say that. But we do miss River Phoenix because he was a genius. He was in several movies from my childhood. He was one of those young actors that just, man.
He had a future.
It's like, God, things would have just turned out differently for him. But yeah, Stand By Me. If you've never seen it, Stephen King novel adapted into film yet again. Not a horror movie per se like most of his, much more of a mental thing. But just absolute awesome movie.
Yeah.
And you get to hear Richard Dreyfuss talking for an hour and a half, so,
Why not?
Why not? He narrates it, so.
It's a great movie. Do some homework. That one is such a great movie.
I love it.
You can't go wrong with that one. Will always be passed down this family.
Yeah.
But my next one, I'm going to start off, obviously growing up, I watched a lot of Batman movies. The Dark Knight is my favorite Batman movie. But before I was blessed with seeing that movie, I watched everything Batman related. And one of the ones I remember out of all of them is Batman and Robin.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care for the movie anymore. I think it's quite terrible now that I know the story behind Batman. But as a kid, you just see Batman and Robin, and that was the first time we saw it in live action, besides the show. This is the first time I really saw it in live action, and I just thought it was cool, like, as a kid to see Robin, like, one of the funny scenes is when he's doing the laundry. It's, like, so over the top. Like, no one does that with their laundry.
Nobody.
He's over here whipping in the air, drying off. It's just like, dude, put it in the dryer, dude. You're doing too much. But as a kid, it was really fun. I remember watching that. And that's the one where he has the Batman card, right? The Batman credit card.
Yeah.
Stink. And he's got the bat
Never
nips.
leave home without it. Yeah.
It's a terrible movie, but as a kid,
really
it was funny. It's just over the top. It's basically a cartoon. It's literally a cartoon, but just looks real. That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, poor Arnold Schwarzenegger as Dr. Freeze, Mr. Freeze. Jeez.
It's a terrible movie.
Everybody chill.
It's so bad.
They just...
But it's my childhood, and...
Fuck you, Joel Schumacher.
As a kid, it had a special place in my heart. It did, as a kid, just because of Robin. Because I always thought Robin and Nightwing were really cool sidekicks. And I was hoping maybe later on we'd get a Nightwing movie. But I hope
they killed every chance of that.
Yeah, now that Batman's been postponed.
Now you might get one.
Now, back then, no, they ruined that.
No, they ruined that for you back in the day.
With Batman and Robin, when they're done right, they're really cool next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
James Gunn is going to do a Batman and Robin movie. So if he does it right, if we ever get started on that, all right, Matt Reeves, let's pick up the pace, finish your trilogy so we can get our Batman movies.
For real.
But Batman and Robin, I remember from my childhood. Same thing with all of them around that time. Val Kilmer, his too. I remember his. But there were so many Batman movies in the early 2000s. It was in 90s and 80s. It's just
they
consistently.
They should have stopped after Batman Returns, in all honesty, because Jim Carrey was the only good thing in Batman Forever.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
And there was nothing good in Batman and Robin.
No.
Except for Arnold Schwarzenegger playing Mr. Freeze.
Yeah. That's
just because we get the one-liners.
You need to chill.
Everybody chill.
But
Nice to meet you.
Besides that, it's terrible. I had to include it, though, although...
Yeah. Well...
I don't watch anymore, but it was good in my childhood.
I've already named one of the worst movies probably in cinema history, so don't feel too bad.
No,
I got Howard the Duck on my list.
The rest of mine, I promise, are really good. I want to throw a little doozy in there for y'all to make y'all remember. We all watched it, and it was terrible the way we look at it now, but as a kid, we all enjoyed it for some reason.
I make no apologies and no excuses. I got quite a few bad movies on here.
The rest of mine...
That's just kind of my jam sometimes. I like the crappy ones just because they meant something.
This is one of the bad crappy ones, though. There's a few really good crappy movies.
Yeah.
There's some good ones you're like, that got made and how? But look at Batman and Robin, you're like, there shouldn't have been made.
There was no... We could have lived without it. But what we cannot live without...
Oh, let me hear.
Is the original Gene Wilder Willy Wonka.
No, it's a milestone.
I mean, I was just watching it 2 days ago, aggravating my mother. 'Cause she's just like, again. It comes on all the time on the BBC network. I don't know why they love showing it, but I love that they love showing it because I can watch Gene Wilder as Willy Wonka every day of the week.
It's
Knowing
amazing.
some of the stories from that movie on how a lot of it was improvised because he was such a genius.
And the opening scene with
Uh,
him in general.
yeah, the opening scene with him walking and stumbling, all his idea to make it more believable that he's insane and that you cannot predict what
He's
he's going to do.
childish. Yeah.
The whole boat going down the chocolate river and he starts singing and they had no idea what he was going to do. And then he just starts screaming, and there's all that weird psychedelic stuff on the tunnel walls, and
And it's a
kids are
strange one.
freaking out. But it was such a magical, colorful, just amazing movie. Charlie Bucket, the underdog in life, finding a silver dollar. I'm guessing. I don't know how their money equates back in the '60s in UK.
Yeah.
But it looked like a silver dollar, more or less. Getting to go finally get a bar of candy because he's poor and he can't even afford a bar of candy. And that candy having the golden ticket in it.
The ultimate underdog, the unlikely story. And also the guy who played him, after the movie, just was a farmer.
Yeah, he's a veterinarian now.
Isn't that awesome? It's just like, yeah, I just
Yeah.
want to do one movie.
He went in for an audition with a bunch of other kids. The way he looked, they were like, yeah, you look like a Charlie Bucket.
I go, okay.
You look like a Buckethead. Come on.
And they put him in there. It's just,
But I love it. I love how that movie not only is it entertaining, but it teaches you morals and ethics.
oh, a lot.
Because, every time one of the kids does something they're not supposed to, there's a consequence, and then you get the creepy little Loompa Loompa singing about it.
As they take them away.
Yeah. And I just love how, even though as a kid it's kind of creepy in moments, but there again, I'm a little weird like that, so it was entertaining for
Especially
me.
Fat Boy drowning in the chocolate.
Yeah, Augustus Bluff. But I love it. I love that movie. I'll love it till the end of the day.
It's a great movie. It's a cult classic.
I think it's one of the most perfect movies ever made. I really do. I put it up there in high regards because it's like, can't touch it.
No.
And just say real quick, I love Tim Burton's films. I love Johnny Depp as an actor. He's one of my top two actors of all time. The remake that they did, the reimagining that they did was atrocious,
Strange.
pointless. We did not need that. And you almost tainted the legacy of what was Willy Wonka.
They got close.
I know that what's his name, Chalamet,
Did the prequel or
did the
whatever.
prequel and gave it a little bit more respects than what Tim Burton did. So thank you for that.
Fixed it. He fixed it a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think he did pretty good. I watched that with my buddy. I'd say, oh, it wasn't too bad.
I mean, you got to remember, even the first Willy Wonka was almost halfway a musical. They sang throughout the movie. It's kind of like The Sound of Music. There is serious acting and drama involved, but there's going to be some singing involved. That's just the time. They all did that, Family movies had singing in it. That's kind of how you differentiated family movies from regular movies was, do they sing in it?
Or do you, yeah.
No, yeah? Okay, the kids can watch it then.
Yeah, it's like, okay, they sing a little bit. We'll go ahead and watch that one.
But yeah, man, Willy Wonka, Gene Wilder, one of my favorite actors. Definitely one of my favorite comedic actors. He is so different from any walk of life I've ever seen.
In any of his movies, he knew how to put his presence on the screen.
Absolutely. But yeah, Willy Wonka. Sure, most people know it.
It's kind of hard if you don't.
Go watch it. It's such a trippy, crazy movie to watch.
It's a mind freak of a movie sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
My next one we've mentioned before many times is The Incredible Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
My childhood included a lot of that movie. One of those movies where I had to get a few different copies. Had Hulk hands. Had a few different type of Hulk hands.
Yeah, you did.
Me and my brother fought a lot with those Hulk hands.
You win as the Hulk for Halloween at least once.
I think it was once or twice.
Pretty sure you did it. You did most. You did Superman twice. You did Mr. Fantastic. You were Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
You were You were the Red Ranger once. You were Hulk once or twice.
I was a Ranger twice.
You were Ranger twice. I thought you did Spider-Man one year.
I definitely did. I did a lot.
Yeah.
But I remember watching The Incredible Hulk. To me, it's underrated in the MCU. We don't get enough credit for it. It's a great origin movie in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I might have a little bias because it came out when I was really young, so I watched it a lot. That's fine. That's okay. I'm okay with having bias on that one. It's better than the one prior to it, any of them prior to it. I just thought it was great. He looked really good in the movie.
Yeah.
Like the way they made him look, it's like he looked like a big monster.
Yeah, much bigger than what they wound up with afterwards.
Yeah.
They made him look so much smaller.
It feels like they did. He just looked like unnatural, and it's like that's what it would be like.
Well, yeah, I mean, because otherwise it's like, okay, well, Thanos is just as big as the Hulk.
Yeah.
So.
Why does he look so small around these people?
Yeah. I was a little upset about that. I thought they did better with that.
But the Incredible Hulk, I love the plot of it. He's trying to escape, basically from everybody, because it's like, well, yeah, if they get a hold of you, they're gonna test you until the day you die.
Yep.
And you don't want that. You definitely not. If the government gets a hold of you, you'll be sticking needles and cutting you up and doing all sorts of things you don't want. But I just love to see him slowly control it and everything like that. I love the ending, how he learns to fully control it, which we see in Avengers. He shows. They do have the deleted scene, which they mention again in Avengers, where at the end he tries to shoot himself. And then they actually delete that scene. The deleted scene, when you look at the ice, you can see Cap frozen.
Yeah.
Which Kevin Feige actually said was right, so that actually leads into the Avengers properly. So it tied in perfectly into the movies. It just unfortunately
Edward Norton
being a butthole on.
Thanks a lot, Norton.
It would have been cool to see you on the Avengers, but Mark Ruffalo did well. Incredible Hulk, I love the way it looks. I love it when he bleeds. You see just like that green blood come out. The final fight scene is really awesome. I always love that. And then we see him do the clap.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Hulk smash. He announces that he's doing it like he does in the comics and everything.
Yes.
And you just see him, and you see that foot fall, and then he comes around him with the chain. And you can tell that even Hulk wants to do the right thing at a certain point because he sees his love of his life watching, everything like that. Which I really like how for most of the time until Black Widow, he didn't have any other love interest.
No, they did pretty good not trying to
home around.
Well, they're pretty, it happens easy in Hollywood.
Yeah.
So,
But
it was nice they didn't.
That was a part of my childhood without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, I bet it was.
Love the Hulk. Hulk is awesome. I hope we get a World War Hulk movie one day.
I have a feeling.
And then we got a new trailer for Captain America. They showed him transforming into the Red Hulk. I just love how he puts his hand out and you can see the little floor kind of light on fire because the Red Hulk gets hot when he's mad and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
We got one more month and we get to see that. I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Ready. It's gonna be my birthday.
It's gonna be fun. Ready. It's gonna be fun. I can't wait till that. But I figured you knew I was gonna put Incredible Hulk on there.
Oh, I knew you would. I know how you are.
We ought to get some Hulk hands for the podcast. That'd be funny.
I'm gonna smack you around with them Hulk hands.
Yeah, if we ever get a disagreement, we'll just be swinging at each other with the Hulk hands.
What Deadpool call it? Schmasturbating?
Yeah.
Where you take Hulk hands and you
go
to town on your nether regions.
He's like, what is it called? Doesn't matter.
Well, my next one, you can say all three because I consider all three of them good. These were big in my life anyway. But the Mighty Ducks trilogy. Mm-hmm. I never got tired of watching those. I think Emilio Estevez was awesome in those. There again, really good child actors that really pulled some heartstrings, brought some good morals and ethics to the plate that made you really learn lessons and want to strive to be better and inspire. Some of those movies are great for kids. I think parents need to get kids watching that kind of stuff.
The Mighty Ducks. When he made us watch them, the first one especially, such a great story about bringing a group of kids you would never see together and have the true underdog story.
Yeah.
They're just phenomenal.
Teamwork is everything. Trusting each other is everything. And doing the right thing is most important. And when you see an adult learn that lesson first in the movie, and then to see that adult be humbled by children and then make the children his main goal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who doesn't win in that outcome? So
They'll help him get the date and everything
yeah,
like that. It's just
know.
a fun movie. One of the few times, like obviously non like superhero, where the trilogy is actually completely good.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I hold the Mighty Ducks trilogy up there because they're all three good.
they're phenomenal. I love them. I can never, like, it's one of those things that no matter which one comes on, you really don't want to skip it.
No.
It's like I want to sit here and watch the whole movie.
Because the first one, they get to become little pee-wee hockey state champs.
Yep.
Second one, they're in the Junior Olympics. And then the third one, you know, they're freshman versus varsity, you know, trying to prove they belong.
And they do. Just, it's fun.
You
it's
know,
awesome.
so they hit certain things where it's like, yeah, okay, maybe going for a gold medal might not be something most people would be called obtainable. But it just goes to show you that in every walk of life, you're going to have obstacles, but, you know.
Stick together, work hard.
Stay positive and keep your head up is one of the main things.
Stick to the basics.
Every dog has his day. You can't, you know, can't give up too easily. But yeah, Mighty Ducks trilogy, man. I used to watch those all the time.
Me and Hunter watched those a lot growing up.
I mean, it was to the point where I started buying hockey gear and stuff, and I was doing roller hockey even when we, you know, couldn't go to the ice rink or anything. Of course, there was only one ice rink because we live in Texas. But
yeah, there's not a lot.
But yeah, man, I love Mighty Ducks.
They're
awesome. I'm gonna watch when I get done with this.
We might have to. We haven't watched it in a while. Mine is another cult classic. Great family movie, The Mask. I feel it's really amazing. Definitely great watching that as a kid, just to see Jim Carrey in his prime, just be the animated man he is on screen, and this just boosted his animation another level.
Heck yeah,
because he's playing a character that's not real and it's very animated.
Acting like a cartoon, literally, yeah.
Was that one of my favorite scenes is when he's trying to prove the mask does it, but it's not working. He's all freaking out. That it doesn't work, and then I just love the irony in the movie. Anytime someone says something, he literally does it. Like when the police like freeze, and he stops in the air all frozen. I can't move. They're like unfreeze, and then he thaws out and falls on the floor. They're taking everything out of his pockets, and they pull out a bazooka. Yeah. It's just the most outlandish stuff, but it's awesome. And then his little dog Max is bringing him the mask in jail. It's just like it's little things. It's like none of it really makes any sense.
No.
It's just the most strange love movie you've ever seen.
It's a very strange love movie.
And it's just he's trying to win the girl over because he's just a normal guy on the block. But he finds this mask that randomly pops up. It's got a big old story behind it and everything like that. Yeah, Loki mythology and everything like that. But it's awesome. It's Jim Carrey literally in his prime.
Doing his
I think he's always been in his prime.
Yeah, I think he's just now deciding not to have a prime.
Yeah, he's slowing down. I think he's stopping now, but unfortunately, yeah. The Mask, that was a time frame when it's just such a good movie.
Yeah.
That's one of the ones I'll never get old. He's hilarious when he's making all the cops dance to the Congo.
Hey, call me Cuba Pete.
And he's dancing he's getting them all to dance. They're all shaking their shoulders, and he gets away. It's like I say, it's over the top. It's hilarious. Never gets old.
I'm sure everybody pretty much knows The Mask. I mean,
it's hard I don't get how you wouldn't know that.
Come on.
Like there's a few like 23, number 23. One of those where it's like it's a little more because it's a specific audience.
That's definitely, I understand people haven't seen that one.
Like I've heard people maybe they don't know Yes Man, but like when it comes to Dumb and Dumber, The Mask, it's like
Ventura, yeah, those
everybody knows that one. But
you would think.
I would hope.
Do your homework if you haven't.
I would hope you know this.
Don't watch The Son of Mask.
No, it's terrible. If you want to be blessed, just watch The Mask.
Yeah.
But
I want to be cursed. Watch The Son of Mask.
That one's terrible. It's awful.
That was a good one.
What you got on there?
So my next one, because once again I'm very blessed with the generation I grew up in the era of movies I got, as well as like Saturday morning cartoons and stuff. The original Ninja Turtles live action.
Mm-hmm.
Dude.
You know they're good when I had them on my list too.
When I tell you that it took over. It was like a Beatles mania type thing there for a while. Because I mean, everybody had everything Ninja Turtles when that came out.
It was awesome.
I loved it. I loved it. I still watch them. To this day. I mean, I never got tired of them. I think they did such a great job with those, and for its time, it's amazing.
They brought it to life.
They brought it to life, and they made it perfect. They really did, and I think that's why the new live action ones have such a hard time, because it's like, man, you got something pretty big to live up to.
You got some competition.
Now, granted, it was a trilogy, but we're not going to speak of the third one because there's time travel involved, and now you're just getting a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a little much.
But the first two, with and the second one, Secret of the Ooze, I could watch those every day. I love them, love them, love them, love them, love them. I was a huge fan of the animated series. I had every single action figure.
Mm-hmm.
I was head to toe Ninja Turtles when it came to those. I was a fiend when it came to action figures and the cartoons and the movies of these certain, this genre. But the Ninja Turtles, dude, how can you go wrong?
I even had that on my list. That's how good they were.
You can't.
And they're so awesome. I love the scene when the first one, Raphael sneaks out and he's got his disguise on.
Yeah.
And it's like someone looks at you.
See, yeah, it's like it's right out of a cartoon. What are you doing?
But it's so fun. It's awesome just to see that, because it's one of those genres you don't think you'll ever see that in live action.
No. Because it seems too ridiculous, but they still made it look cool.
They did. It made it blend in perfect.
Yeah.
I love it. No, Ninja Turtles. I remember whenever I watched those as a kid, he finally showed us that those were. And then, especially my time, is when we started getting a lot more animated shows. When Nickelodeon was releasing all those shows, and then eventually Michael Bay made the movies. And we got a lot of Ninja Turtle stuff. There's a lot of different ones to look at.
Mm-hmm.
I like how they did different styles, too, for all the different cartoons. Just kind of like experiment.
Yeah.
It's like, have fun with it. Do something new.
Well, it feels like they're trying to copy each other when they start looking too similar.
Exactly.
It was nice that they didn't do that. But I'm telling you, the OG animated, the OG movie.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
They're phenomenal. Another one, I guess, that a lot of people didn't think would be good in live action was a Scooby-Doo live action. Where Matthew Lillard is Scooby, for those who may not know or Shaggy, who may not know what we're talking about. But the original, I like the first, they're both good. But the first one, I mean, me and my brother, we watched those. We watched Scooby-Doo a lot.
Y'all wore those DVDs out, dude.
But those live action Scooby-Doo movies, one of those ones you're just like, it's a cartoon, they're never going to make a movie out of it. Yeah. They make like the special movies every so often, like they did the WWE one, and like the random ones where like the crossovers, where they did a real live action one, and it was good.
Yeah.
It's like the cast really wants to be here.
Yeah.
They're having fun and they love it, especially with Matthew Lillard doing great as Shaggy.
Yeah, he's like, perfect.
He embodied the role. It's just like, he locked into the inner child and brought it out.
He did, the voice, everything. He had the perfect walk. I watched an interview when it came out, and him talking about how he learned and taught himself how to walk like Shaggy. And so, I mean, he's Matthew Lillard, unspoken hero in cinema.
He's just phenomenal. I just had to jump around real quick just because it's one of the ones where it's like you never think you see that.
Nah.
And I just love that one. But the next one I actually had on my list was Grown Ups. That's a phenomenal movie. I've mentioned it before, I think, but sequel's terrible. There's a few funny scenes in the sequel.
A few.
But the first one, you talk about iconic.
It's amazing.
I mean, just the scene where they're about the whole funeral scene alone, the amount of meanings from that one.
Yeah.
And they literally they haven't seen each other in like 12 years. You could tell you're true friends. The instant they saw each other, they just started messing with each other.
Yeah.
They started poking at each other. And they poke at David Spade. They're like, why are you being so weird? He's like, I get weird around dead people. Yeah. It's like, okay, you're still weird. Good to know.
Funerals make me weird.
And it's a good story of they're all living separate lives, but they can still have their childhood and their memories to come back to. They have that one place, that lake house, that brings them back to the one place they can all be who they truly are. And it shows, it's like, you don't have to act like anybody else, because they all were put on these almost personas of who they really weren't. Especially Kevin James, his character.
Yeah.
He mostly was a,
Saw.
you better shut that dog up before I do.
What is that, a turkey? Because it had its larynx or its voice box removed, so it just sounded like a squashed turkey.
It just had this. The movie's funny. And it's hilarious. There's never a time where I watch that movie and it's just, if there's ever a movie that I want to watch that gets me out of like a boring mood or like having a rough day, it's one of those movies where you can just toss on the TV and it gets you cracking up.
Yeah.
And just get you in a good mood. The whole pool scene.
God, yeah.
They're at the pool and they're all peeing in the pool. They won't know. Daddy, you're making CC in the pool. No, I'm not. It's just the blue starts forming around. Everybody gets out. It's hilarious because obviously pools don't do that because they can't. It's harder now to do that, but
yeah,
it's just the funny of like, don't pee in the pool. But I just love it. It's basically a bunch of grown-ups being kids again for the summer because they have an excuse to be.
Yeah.
It's just all around great movie.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, I got lucky in my childhood. 89 Batman.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton, man. That's tough to beat.
Generational.
He's still my favorite Batman. I can't help it. I just think Michael Keaton did such a great job playing both Bruce Wayne and Batman.
Oh, yeah.
Jack Nicholson, you kidding me? As the Joker. What else do I need to say?
I mean, that alone solidifies it.
It was such a good movie, and it was such an epic movie because we were all clamoring for it. We needed it. We wanted it. And yeah, even though we heard Michael Keaton at first, you're like, really? Okay.
A lot of people were like, this guy's not going to do good.
But then you see him in the suit, and it's like, oh, and that Batmobile is insane.
I love that I do. I love that Batmobile.
That is my favorite Batmobile. I mean, I'm sorry. It really is.
It's pretty cool looking.
And I just love what Tim Burton did with it because he's got such a strange way of shooting movies, his cinematography, the way he does things. But his way of doing things encapsulates Gotham so well.
It's dark.
Yes.
It's grunge. It's
not a nice place.
No, it's not.
Really not. It breeds chaos and villains and evil and
out of all the things, you have the most iconic things. Batman looking up, just
yeah.
The most stiff neck you can have, but of course all the memes from that. But like you said, Michael Keaton is he's iconic in that.
Yeah.
They really just like showed that he knew what he was doing.
Oh,
Tim Burton had a vision. The second one is good too.
Yeah. Second one, Batman Returns, but I still have the VHS somewhere. But just that black VHS case with that big gold Batman right over the front. It was just
pretty.
Beautiful.
Simplicity, baby, I tell you. The more simple you keep things, simplicity can either be really good or really bad. If you keep it too simple, then it's bland. But when it comes to superheroes, it's just the beautiful, like, say there's like if there was a Superman DVD, if it was just that beautiful blue and then like red and gold symbol on the front, it's like that would be pretty.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't need to be all flashy and have 18 floating heads. I hate when posters do that.
Yeah, that's kind of annoying.
Just keep it simple, baby. That's all you gotta do.
Keep it simple, stupid.
I got another superhero one. Shock right now.
Oh, wow.
A big one. Now it's bad when you watch it, but as a kid it was one of my favorites, and that's X-Men Origins. Wolverine's X-Men Origins.
Mm-hmm.
As a kid, I love that movie so much. That was one, along with the other X-Men movies. Wolverine is obviously the character I wanted to be out of all those. I have Wolverine claws in a display case. So if that tells you anything, he's a pretty cool character.
Oh, yeah.
It was so cool to see him in that because we weren't getting a lot of like X-Men movies, let alone origin movies. So it's like, okay, it's pretty cool. And as a kid, obviously I didn't realize Deadpool was like that and that. Now I watch it and it's like, well, that's pretty terrible. I always thought it was funny. I was like, how does he have those two big claws?
That was the dumbest damn thing I've ever seen.
That's really bad.
I still will watch the movie. I just have to look past that.
And Gambit.
I try to ignore Gambit in that movie.
As a kid, that's what got me into Gambit because I thought it was just cool what he was doing. and then we finally got a real Gambit and Deadpool Wolverine, which is awesome to see. One of my favorite X-Men. Gambit's a really cool character, and I love him in X-Men '97.
Mm-hmm.
Gambit can be one of the most badass characters, and he's such a unique character in a way. It's like it's
He
almost
is.
like it's really easy to mess someone up if you don't stick to what the character's about, and they fucked it up a bit. But other than
They
that,
did.
X-Men Origins, it's just Hugh Jackman. He just gets to be Wolverine. It's literally just focusing on Wolverine,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what a lot of us wanted. Even if we didn't say it, that's what we wanted, and we finally got it. It was just awesome to see him be Wolverine. Ultimate love story, ultimate betrayal. We get to see Sabretooth in it,
Yeah.
which is really cool to get a deeper dive on that, even though he looked completely different. But won't say anything about that.
Completely different.
Yeah, and then he looked different again in Deadpool Wolverine.
Completely different.
So maybe with the MCU, if they bring Sabretooth back, which they probably won't, if they do, maybe they'll do it right. Who knows?
Nah.
But I had to throw X-Men Origins in there just because it really got X-Men, or not X-Men, it got Wolverine on another, basically, like, just another reason to love him more. We got more.
Yeah.
It's really, I love the whole scene when he first gets his claws, the whole scene where he breaks out and he's fighting everybody. And then I love the scene where he finally gets the motorcycle and he sits on it and it just sinks down. He's like, oh, a little heavy, huh? He's like, yeah.
Put on some weight recently.
Yeah, and then I love it. He finally gets that jacket. Every dude wants to ride a bike with that jacket because it's badass. You can't argue that.
Thanks a lot, Hugh Jackman.
And you see that, but it's amazing. I love that.
Well, I'm going to throw one out there. Let's see if anybody's heard of this one. If you have not, you need to watch this.
Yeah.
Classic 80s here, baby. Big Trouble in Little China.
Yes. It's a great movie.
Kurt Russell at his finest. Very underrated as a comedic actor. I know most people think of action with him or drama. But his comedy is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, that's kind of, he was doing more funnier things. There is action. There is sci-fi. There is love. There is drama. There's comedy. And it's just fun to watch. He's just a truck driver who winds up in downtown Chinatown, still in America, but it's such a small part of Chinatown to where it is like literally like you're in China, it seems. It's like a whole nother place. And it's just, there's magical things going on.
Most bizarre.
Ancient Chinese magic, and all this cool stuff. And it's like Ghostbusters, but with like Asian mythology. It's crazy to watch. It's very weird, very random, but great 80s flick, man. I love it.
It's a good one. It's definitely one of the ones where a lot of the newer movie watchers probably don't watch.
Oh, no, I'm sure they haven't even heard of it, but if you want to see Kurt Russell when he was in his prime, young, awesome.
Fun little homework.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I got 4 left. If you want to do some deep diving homework, I'll give y'all one real quick. Where the Red Fern Grows.
Yeah.
If you want to cry about a boy and some love with some dogs, if you want to get some country tears on, it's a good way. It's an old movie.
Yeah, based on an old book.
But it's a great story. Just a very simple story. You don't think you'd cry. On my mom's side, my grandma, my brother made her watch it once, and she was really upset that we made her watch it because it made her so sad. She's like, "Why is it so sad?" We're like, "We don't know," because we were only like 11 or 12 when we made her watch it.
It's really good.
It's just about boy and dogs, but
it is a good movie.
It's a really good movie. It really makes you appreciate a lot of things too in life. It's just the simple things. It's based on a long time ago. Just a small train town, really.
Yeah.
And he just winds up, these little dogs are gonna get abandoned, but then he takes them in, raises them, everything like that. I won't say anything else about the plot because I don't want to say anything else. I want to rewatch it. It's been a while. We used to have a DVD, one of the old DVD covers where you could pop the little thing off the end and then it would open.
Yeah.
It was like closed, like a little clip, you can open it. But that was one of the ones where we watched it a lot.
Still got it.
You still have it?
Yeah.
I thought Hunter lost it.
Oh, no.
I'm stealing that.
I've got it.
I'm taking that. I want it so I can brag to him that I have it. That's a great movie. I was trying to think of one more to put on this list because I was at 14. I was like, I need one more. I just randomly thought about it. Like, that's a good movie.
It is a good movie.
It's a great family movie, too, if you really want to get the humbling the kids, I guess.
Yeah, if you want the whole family to cry.
Yeah, if you want tears in the room, that's a good one. But that's a good homework. If you want to deep dive and do some homework, that one's probably hard to find.
Oh, yeah.
But if you can find it, it's definitely worth the watch, and it's great.
I'll tell you one that's not hard to find. I think everybody knows it, but The Never-Ending Story.
That's amazing. I love that movie.
Come on, man. As a kid watching that one, it is misleading because if you are young enough, you're like, oh, so if I just read a book, I get to go on an adventure. And it's like, well, not technically.
This book only.
It's just this one. But it did. It made a bunch of kids think that if they started reading that they were going to be able to go on these adventures and stuff, you know.
It just tells you to use your imagination.
But it is a great story, great lessons to be learned, cool characters.
I love it.
Just so far-fetched, but, you know, it's a fairy tale. It's the never-ending story. But I loved watching that one growing up. Me and my sisters used to just wear that one out.
Me and Hunter wore that one out.
It'd make my mom cry when we'd watch that one.
But yeah, it's really good. I love it. My last three, the next two all kind of fit together because they're just, I remember them a little